Rylan Kale's boots crunched over the frozen canyon floor, each step echoing like a gunshot in the silent ice. The wind whipped against his face, cutting through the heavy layers of his suit, but he barely noticed. His eyes were fixed on the jagged wall ahead, where the ice glimmered unnaturally, almost like glass. Something inside it moved, subtle and slow, but it was enough to make his heart slam against his ribs. He froze, scanning the cavern. The roar had come from nowhere or maybe from everywhere. The sound rattled his chest, and for a moment he thought he'd imagined it. Then came a low, trembling groan, a vibration beneath his feet that made the ice crack in thin, glittering lines. A massive shadow loomed inside the frozen wall. He squinted through the swirling snow and saw it, the dragon. It lay trapped inside the ice, enormous wings folded awkwardly, eyes half closed as if it had given up on life. Its scales caught the light in strange flashes, pulsing faintly with energy that didn't belong to any natural ice. Rylan swallowed hard. He had never seen anything like it. Not in Holovids, not in any mission logs. His first instinct screamed at him to retreat, but he couldn't. He couldn't leave it here. A sudden quake shook the canyon. Ice shards fell around him like knives. Rylan dove to the side, narrowly avoiding a spike that slammed into the frozen ground where he had been standing. His heart raced. He had seconds to act, or both of them could die. He scanned his pack, fingers brushing over the tools he had carried for mining energy crystals. Improvisation was his only option. He yanked out a plasma cutter and aimed at the ice near the dragon's chest, hoping to carve a small path without shattering the entire prison. Sparks flew and the frozen walls groaned, but the ice held at least for now. The dragon stirred, a low rumble vibrating through the crystal. Rylan felt it against his bones, a warning and a plea all at once. "Hold on," he muttered, voice muffled by the mask. "I won't let them take you." The ice around the dragon began to shimmer more intensely. Tiny fractures spread outward, catching the dim light like veins of fire. Rylan realized the energy wasn't just the dragon's, it was something else, something alive in the ice itself. His curiosity pricked at him even as fear tightened his chest. Whatever had frozen the creature, it was powerful. And it was not finished. Another quake hit, stronger this time, rattling the canyon. Rylan's knees buckled under him, and a chunk of ice cracked above the dragon's head. He acted without hesitation. Using a rope and his own weight, he swung himself closer, bracing against the slick ice floor. He pressed the plasma cutter to a fracture near the dragon's wing, carefully tracing a line. Tiny shards rained down, but he managed to carve a narrow gap. Through it he could see the dragon's eye open fully. It wasn't angry. Not yet. It was tired. Hopeless. And it looked at him with something like recognition, as if it understood that he was different from the creatures that had left it here. Rylan felt a pang of guilt. "I'm here," he whispered. "I'll fix this." For a moment nothing happened. Then the ice shivered, and the dragon's chest rose slightly with a ragged breath. Sparks from the cutter caught the reflective surface, creating flickers that danced across its scales. Small, harmless at first, but mesmerizing. Rylan felt a strange thrill. The first real sign that his action had mattered. A small payoff, hope that maybe, just maybe, the dragon could survive. He glanced at the ice shards floating around. They weren't falling. They hovered, spinning slowly as if held by some unseen force. His brow furrowed. What is this?" he muttered. The dragon growled softly, a low vibration that made the air itself hum. Rylan's pulse quickened. It was communicating or warning. He couldn't tell which, and he didn't have time to think. Suddenly, a deep crack tore through the ice wall behind him. Rylan spun, plasma cutter raised, and caught sight of another movement. A shadow, massive and indistinct, moving beneath the ice floor. Something else was trapped or worse, stalking. The roar from before echoed again, louder, closer, and filled with a strange intelligence that made his stomach knot. Rylan's grip on the cutter tightened. The dragon's eye met his, and in that instant, he knew they were connected in ways neither fully understood. The ice around them pulsed in reaction, and he realized that every second he delayed increased the danger, not just for himself but for the dragon. He took a deep breath, heart pounding, and stepped forward into the shimmering ice, ready to risk everything. The next crack split the air like a whip, and the ground beneath the dragon began to shift. Rylan's mind raced. He had no plan, only instinct, courage, and the burning determination not to fail. Then, as if the ice itself had decided to test him, a shard the size of a small tree broke loose from the ceiling, spinning toward him at terrifying speed. He ducked, barely avoiding it, and felt a tremor underfoot. Something was stirring beneath the frozen ground, something enormous. The dragon shivered, wings twitching. Its chest glowed faintly again, syncing with the strange energy in the ice. Ryland's jaw tightened. Whatever this was, the real danger wasn't over. It was only beginning. And he had no idea how deep the frozen silence stretched, or what else lay trapped inside. A final pulse of light from the dragon's chest shot through the ice, illuminating the cavern. Shadows flickered at the edges of Ryland's vision, shapes that should not exist. His heart skipped. He realized with a jolt, the dragon was not alone. Something else was awake, and it was watching him. Ryland's breath came in short, sharp bursts as he stared at the shifting shadows beneath the frozen ground. The shard he had dodged clattered harmlessly against the wall, sending glittering ice fragments raining around him. But he didn't have time to marvel at the display. Something enormous stirred below, and each tremor made the cavern quake in warning. His fingers tightened around the plasma cutter. The dragon's chest pulsed in faint blue light, its wings twitching nervously. It was awake but weak. He had to act. Hesitation could mean death, for him and for the creature he had barely begun to understand. He scanned the walls, looking for anything he could use. Loose ice chunks, crystal formations, even a frozen stalactite, anything to keep the dragon safe. His mind raced. The energy field in the ice wasn't just decorative. It reacted to movement, to heat, maybe even to intent. Every motion mattered. Every mistake could be fatal. Okay, he muttered to himself. We can do this. Step by step. He started clearing a path closer to the dragon's chest, where the ice was thickest. The plasma cutter hissed and spat sparks, carving narrow lines, careful not to destabilize the entire frozen prison. Tiny fractures spread outward. He could see the dragon's breathing become slightly more steady, almost as if it recognized that he was trying to help. That small success bolstered his courage. A payoff, brief but powerful. Then the ice floor trembled again. Something moved beneath them, a shadow larger than the dragon, stretching along the frozen canyon floor. Ryland froze, his pulse racing. Whatever it wasn't trapped like the dragon. It was alive and aware. The creature beneath the ice moved with deliberate strength, sliding silently yet forcefully, like a predator sensing its prey. The dragon hissed, a warning vibration that rattled the ice around them. Ryland swallowed hard. His instincts screamed to retreat, but he couldn't leave the dragon to face this threat alone. He made a split-second decision. He grabbed a heavy chunk of ice from the wall and swung it into the nearest fracture, sending shards spinning into the air. The energy around the dragon pulsed violently in response, illuminating the cavern in sharp flashes of blue and white. The shadow paused. He had bought himself precious seconds. That small act of courage, though minor, kept the immediate danger at bay. Ryland edged closer to the dragon, keeping his movements slow but purposeful. He touched the pulsing chest of the creature, careful not to harm it. Its scales were cold but alive, thrumming with faint energy. As he pressed his palm against it, a strange resonance ran through him, a vibration that seemed to answer the dragon's own pulse. His mind raced. Could he synchronize with it? Could he stabilize the creature through some unknown energy link? He had no time to test it fully. Another quake ripped through the cavern. Ice shattered above and below. The massive shadow under the floor moved again, closer this time, making the entire ice sheet quiver. Ryland stumbled but kept his balance. He had to make a choice. Try to free the dragon fully now or wait and risk both of them being crushed by falling ice and the hidden threat below. His heart pounded. Waiting could mean death. Acting could also mean death, but inaction was certain doom. He gritted his teeth and stepped forward. Using the plasma cutter, he carefully carved a channel around the dragon's chest, freeing the ice just enough to allow movement but not collapse. Sparks flew, and the ice responded, shimmering violently as if alive. The dragon shuddered, then lifted its head slightly. Ryland saw its eyes, glowing faintly with emotion, a mix of trust, fear, and desperate hope. His small victory made the risk worth it. The micro-payoff filled him with renewed determination. Suddenly, the ice under the dragon cracked sharply. A long, jagged fissure opened beneath its claws. The massive shadow moved with intent, pushing energy through the cracks. The dragon's wings flared instinctively, shaking loose small chunks of ice. Ryland's mind raced. He realized that whatever was under the ice was attracted to the dragon's energy. That was the key. The hidden creature wasn't just a random predator. It was drawn to the dragon and now to him. He took a deep breath and shouted, "I won't let you take it." His voice echoed through the frozen canyon, carrying more determination than sound. He lunged toward a nearby energy shard embedded in the ice, using it like a lever to push against the fissure. The hidden shadow recoiled slightly, hissing through the ice. He had made a temporary barrier. The dragon flinched, then slowly moved forward, its massive claws gripping the ice. Step by step, it began to regain balance. Rylan noticed a pattern. Each pulse of the dragon's chest seemed to resonate with certain cracks in the ice. He moved deliberately, placing his hands on the glowing fractures, using his own energy tools to mimic the dragon's pulse. The floating shards stilled, forming a protective shimmer around them. The shadow below paused, uncertain for the first time. Rylan's clever use of both environment and dragon energy had given them an advantage. Another small victory, another payoff that felt like a lifeline. But relief was fleeting. The dragon lifted its head fully, and the hidden shadow stirred violently, sending a tremor through the ice. A massive chunk broke loose, sliding toward them with terrifying speed. Rylan grabbed the dragon's wing, holding on as the ice chunk slammed into the floor, sending shards flying like knives. The dragon hissed, vibrating energy through Rylan's hand. He realized it was warning him, or begging him. Rylan's eyes widened as he understood the stakes. The shadow below wasn't alone. Something larger, smarter, and far more dangerous was awakening under the frozen canyon. Every action he took would ripple through the ice and draw its attention. The dragon was alive now, but barely. And whatever else lurked beneath, it was watching, waiting, calculating. He swallowed his fear and gritted his teeth. "We can't stop now," he whispered. "We have to keep going." The cavern went silent for a heartbeat, then a deep, resonant growl reverberated from the cracks below, low, intelligent, and filled with purpose. The dragon shivered, wings flexing, energy pulsing faster. Rylan felt it too, a vibrating warning in his bones. He realized in that moment that the real danger had only just begun. And from somewhere deep beneath the ice, the shadow moved closer, faster than anything he had expected. Rylan's pulse quickened. One wrong move now and they both could be lost. The next moment would decide everything. Rylan felt the ice tremble beneath him again, heavier this time, as though the hidden shadow had grown larger, more aware of their presence. The dragon's chest pulsed faster, brightening in bursts of blue and white, casting flickering light across the cavern walls. Its eyes, once dull with despair, now glowed with a strange, cautious intelligence. Rylan gritted his teeth and leaned closer, placing both hands on the dragon's forearm scales. He tried to feel its pulse, to sense its rhythm, hoping to synchronize with it. Suddenly, a line of ice shattered in a pattern too precise to be random. Tiny symbols shimmered in the cracks, alien runes, faint and glowing. Rylan's brow furrowed. He had studied exoplanet archaeology for years, and these markings didn't match anything in the human database. They were ancient, powerful, and, he realized with a jolt, reactive. They pulsed in sync with the dragon's heartbeat. Every vibration the creature made sent a ripple through the runes, causing them to flare briefly. The hidden shadow beneath the ice growled again, reacting to the light. Rylan's mind raced. The ice, the runes, the dragon's pulsing energy, it was all connected. He had to understand the pattern. He adjusted the plasma cutter's energy output, letting it hum in short, rhythmic pulses, mimicking the dragon's heartbeat. A faint resonance ran through the ice, and for the first time, the floating shards around the dragon's body settled into a stable orbit. The hidden shadow below recoiled slightly, uncertain. A small, thrilling victory, but Rylan didn't allow himself relief. The ice around them still trembled, and the fissures spread farther than before. Each step he took to stabilize the dragon sent vibrations through the cavern, and the hidden presence below followed every movement. He realized that the shadow wasn't just reactive, it was intelligent. It was watching, calculating, testing. The dragon shivered and let out a low, resonant hum. Rylan felt the vibrations through his hands and jawed teeth. The creature was trying to communicate. Rylan's pulse quickened. He had no words for this moment, but instinct took over. He tapped his own tools against the ice in short bursts, creating a sequence of vibrations that echoed the dragon's hum. The floating shards shivered in response, then steadied. The dragon's wings twitched, and the glow from its chest brightened as if acknowledging the human's effort. His small, daring experiment worked. He had established a connection. Then the unexpected happened. A pulse shot from the dragon's chest into the ice, stronger than any before. The runes along the cracks flared, and the ice in front of Rylan split cleanly, revealing a massive cavity. Inside, partially embedded in the dragon's chest, was a strange object, an alien artifact shaped like a jagged crystal, glowing faintly with the same blue-white light as the dragon's pulses. Rylan froze. This was the source of the dragon's frozen despair. It wasn't trapped by natural ice alone. It had been imprisoned by technology perhaps for centuries. The hidden shadow below hissed, a sound that shook the ice floor. Ryland's heart pounded. The creature under the ice reacted violently to the artifact. Whatever it was, it didn't like the human touching the dragon, or maybe it feared what removing the object might do. Every pulse of energy from the dragon sent vibrations through the shadow, making the fissures widen dangerously. Ryland realized he had seconds to act before the entire cavern became unstable. He looked at the dragon, whose eyes now met his fully. The creature was weak, trembling, yet there was a spark of trust there. Ryland knew that he was the only one who could free it. His hands trembled slightly, but he steadied himself, calculating the safest angle to approach the artifact. Every step he took toward the crystal made the hidden shadow stir violently, the ice quaking beneath them. Ryland braced himself, grabbed the artifact carefully and lifted it slightly. The dragon shivered, wings flaring instinctively, sending floating shards spinning around them. The hidden shadow lunged under the ice, sending a shockwave that rattled the entire cavern. Ice cracked and splintered around them. But Ryland didn't flinch. He focused on synchronizing with the dragon's pulse, keeping the vibration steady. Somehow, the dragon's energy and his own rhythm combined, stabilizing the immediate chaos. The artifact came free. Light shot through the cavern in a blinding flash and the dragon roared, not in anger but in relief. The energy pulses that had frozen it for so long spread outward, melting small areas of the ice. Floating shards tumbled harmlessly, suspended briefly, then fell. Ryland stumbled backward, heart racing, but a triumphant thrill coursed through him. The small payoff hit him hard. He had done it. He had freed the dragon from its torment. But the relief was immediate and short-lived. The hidden shadow beneath the ice surged violently, larger and faster than before. The energy that had held it at bay reacted to the freed artifact, and the fissures began to crack further. The cavern trembled dangerously. Ryland realized with growing horror that the dragon, though freed, was not yet safe. The shadow wasn't just a threat, it was a predator, drawn to the same energy that had trapped the dragon. The dragon's chest glowed brightly now, the pulse sharp and rhythmic as if warning the human. Ryland placed both hands on the creature, feeling the vibrations course through him. Every tremor from the hidden shadow caused the dragon to tense. They were linked, human and dragon, and both were vulnerable. Ryland's mind raced. He needed a plan and he needed it fast. Then, from deep beneath the ice, came a sound that froze him more than fear could. A low, intelligent roar, followed by a shimmer of blue energy that raced along the fissures toward them. The shadow was preparing to strike. Ryland swallowed, heart hammering, and whispered, "We face this together." The dragon flexed its wings, pulsing light through the cavern, and the ice trembled with a strange resonance. For a moment, everything seemed to hang in perfect balance. One wrong move and both could be lost. And then the artifact, still glowing faintly in Ryland's hands, began to react again. This time, it pulsed on its own, independent of the dragon. A subtle vibration ran through the ice, hinting that it held a power far greater than either of them had imagined. Ryland's eyes widened. Whatever the artifact truly was, it was only the beginning. Ryland's hands trembled as he held the glowing artifact, feeling its pulse race against the dragon's heartbeat beneath him. The cavern trembled with every thrum of energy, shards of ice spinning dangerously in the air. The hidden shadow below roared, sending vibrations through the fissures that rattled his teeth and made the ice floor buckle. He realized with a rush of adrenaline that the creature was far larger and smarter than he had imagined, and every second they delayed increased the danger. The dragon flexed its wings trying to rise, but its limbs were stiff, weakened from centuries of frozen imprisonment. Ryland climbed onto its back, balancing carefully on the slick scales. His boots dug into the ice without slipping, thanks to quick thinking and reinforced soles, but the cavern shook violently beneath them. Sparks flew from the plasma cutter he still clutched, and he knew it would not be enough to fight this shadow directly. They had to move and fast. He leaned over the dragon's spine, whispering into its ear, hoping it could understand him in some way. "We can do this together. Trust me. You have to trust me." The dragon's glowing eyes flickered with understanding, or maybe hope. It flexed its wings, sending a shockwave through the ice that momentarily pushed the shadow back. That small moment of cooperation was a tiny victory, proof that human courage and empathy could influence even a creature centuries old. But the shadow was relentless. It surged through the fissures, sending jagged ice shards flying in every direction. One shard, the size of a spear, spun toward Ryland's head. He ducked instinctively, sliding along the dragon's back, but the impact caused a tremor that nearly knocked him off. The dragon hissed, vibrating energy through the ice and into Ryland's boots, warning him, or maybe asking for help. Ryland gritted his teeth and adjusted his stance, keeping a hand on the artifact to steady it, knowing it held the key to everything. He needed a plan fast. Scanning the cavern, he spotted a massive crystalline formation protruding from the ice wall, a natural lever of sorts. He had a split second to act. Using the dragon's pulsing energy as a guide, he timed a jump, landing on the crystal, and swung his plasma cutter in an arc to strike a secondary fissure. The ice cracked in a controlled pattern, sending energy waves that pushed the shadow back slightly. Small payoff, he bought them seconds, but the shadow adapted quickly, its vibrations growing faster, angrier. Ryland gritted his teeth. There was only one chance. He climbed to the dragon's neck, using the creature's weakened wings for leverage. The dragon flinched at first, but when Ryland pressed his weight carefully, it adjusted, flexing its wings to balance them both. The hidden shadow surged, ice cracking around them, yet Ryland held firm. He pressed the artifact against the dragon's chest where it had been lodged, letting it pulse in sync with the dragon's natural rhythm. The energy flared, blinding and intense, and the shadow hissed in confusion. The cavern trembled violently, shards of ice raining down, yet the dragon pulsed stronger than ever. Suddenly, the artifact shot a beam of energy into the ceiling, shattering chunks of ice and sending them spinning harmlessly aside. The shadow lurched, momentarily stunned. Ryland realized the artifact wasn't just a key to freeing the dragon, it was a weapon. He whispered encouragement to the creature, feeling the resonance between them. "We're almost there. Stay with me." The dragon, sensing the human's determination, pushed itself to rise, weak limbs trembling under its massive body. Together they began moving toward the cavern exit, the ice floor quivering under every step. The hidden shadow, enraged, surged again, sending energy pulses through the fissures that threatened to tear the cavern apart. Ryland held onto the artifact, guiding the dragon's pulses to counter the destructive waves. Small payoff, each step they made was a victory, inching them closer to freedom. Then came the pattern interrupt. The shadow lunged from beneath the ice in a massive surge, breaking through a frozen wall and sending shards spinning in all directions. Ryland braced himself, gripping the dragon tightly. The creature hissed and lashed its tail, sending a shockwave that collided with the shadow, energy meeting energy. Sparks of ice and blue-white light erupted, and the cavern shook as if it might collapse entirely. Ryland's heart raced. One wrong move now and everything would be lost. Using the last ounce of his strength, he pressed the artifact fully against the dragon's chest. A brilliant pulse shot through the cavern, freezing the shadow mid-lunge. Its roar echoed, strangled by the sudden energy wave, and for the first time, it hesitated. The dragon flexed its wings, energy from the artifact and its own pulse merging into a protective shield. Ice shards floated harmlessly around them, a barrier of controlled energy. The micro-payoff hit. For the first time they had a chance. But the artifact pulsed again, independently now, hinting at a power far beyond Ryland's understanding. The dragon's chest shone brighter than ever, and the cavern trembled with possibility. He realized that freeing the dragon had awakened something much larger. The hidden shadow recoiled, but it was not defeated. It was observing, learning, adapting. Ryland leaned closer to the dragon, whispering fiercely, "We've made it this far. I won't let anything stop us now." The dragon hissed and flexed, wings flaring, chest glowing, a partnership forged in courage and desperation. They were alive, but the battle was not over. The cavern held more secrets, more dangers, and the artifact's true purpose remained unknown. And as they prepared to move forward, a subtle vibration ran through the ice, a pulse that wasn't from the dragon, nor from the artifact, nor from the shadow. Something else had awakened deeper in the frozen canyon. Something watching. Something waiting. Ryland's eyes widened. He understood in that instant that their struggle here was only the beginning. Whatever lay ahead would test every ounce of courage, every ounce of intelligence, every ounce of humanity he possessed. And this time there would be no second chances. Ryland's boots slid across the slick ice as he guided the dragon toward the cavern's exit. Every step was a careful balance of instinct and precision, the massive creature trembling beneath him but moving steadily, wings flexing to stabilize against the uneven frozen floor. The hidden shadow had retreated, lingering in the deeper fissures, its presence a constant threat. The air thrummed with tension, but Ryland felt a small surge of hope. the dragon was awake and for the first time in centuries, it was free to move. The artifact pulsed gently now, almost in sync with the dragon's breathing. Rylan could feel the energy running through him, a strange warmth mingling with the cold of the cavern. He glanced down at the creature beneath him. Its eyes, once dull and hopeless, now shone with intelligence, gratitude, and a hint of curiosity. Rylan whispered softly, "We made it this far. You're safe now, at least for the moment." The dragon huffed, a low, vibrating rumble that reverberated through the ice. It was a sound that carried both relief and the cautious understanding of survival. The cavern walls trembled again, though less violently this time. The hidden shadow remained below, but it had retreated enough to allow them a narrow path to freedom. Rylan led the dragon carefully, each movement measured to avoid triggering the fissures or provoking the shadow. Tiny shards floated around them, suspended in a strange equilibrium created by the merging energy of the artifact and the dragon's pulse. The dragon flinched when one shard spun too close, and Rylan instinctively extended a hand to steady it. Their connection was growing stronger. As they approached the exit, the artifact's glow intensified. The ice above them began to fracture in a controlled pattern, revealing a soft, pale light from outside the cavern. Rylan's heart leapt. The sunlight, or rather the alien light of this frozen planet, bathed the dragon's scales in a shimmering glow. He felt a small but profound sense of triumph. They had made it this far, alive against impossible odds. The first micro-payoff of victory washed over him. The dragon flexed its wings fully and let out a long, resonant roar. The sound echoed across the canyon, vibrating through the fissures and into the hidden shadow below. The creature reacted violently, thrashing in place but could not escape. Rylan realized that their combined energy, the human courage, the dragon's power, and the artifact's mysterious pulse, had created a protective balance at least temporarily. They had turned desperation into a tactical advantage. Rylan slid off the dragon's back as they reached the edge of the cavern. The dragon lowered its massive head, watching him with what felt like cautious respect. He pressed a hand against its scales one last time, feeling the heartbeat sink between them. "You're free," he whispered, voice steady despite the adrenaline. "You deserve this. You've waited far too long." The dragon's chest pulsed again, strong and rhythmic as if acknowledging the words. That small emotional payoff, the first real expression of connection, hit him harder than any physical danger had. Then the artifact pulsed unexpectedly, sending a shockwave that resonated through the ice canyon. Rylan stumbled but caught himself. The glow wasn't random. It formed a path, faintly illuminating a distant ridge where similar frozen structures glimmered. His mind raced. If the artifact could react this way, could it be pointing toward something larger? Another hidden network? Another mystery waiting to be uncovered? The thought sent a thrill of curiosity and fear through him. The dragon snorted and lifted into the air, shaking off the remaining shards of ice as it rose. Rylan watched, awestruck. The creature moved with grace despite its size, each flap of its wings stirring the cold wind. He realized that his courage, his willingness to act despite fear, had not only saved a life but had begun a bond that could change the balance of this world, or perhaps the galaxy. Humanity, he thought, truly shone when the odds seemed impossible. The hidden shadow beneath the cavern let out one final echoing roar. Its energy pulses trembled across the ice, but it did not pursue. For now it was contained, uncertain, and waiting. Rylan's pulse quickened. The danger was not gone, but the immediate threat had been overcome. A micro-payoff that was both satisfying and tense. Their survival had come at the cost of remaining vigilance. Rylan knelt beside the glowing artifact, studying it. Its surface shimmered faintly, revealing more alien markings beneath the light. He could feel intelligence in it, a power older than the dragon itself. The first part of the mystery had been solved. The dragon was freed. But the larger puzzle, the origin of the artifact, the other frozen creatures, the shadow's intent, remained. His curiosity burned. This was bigger than he had imagined. The dragon hovered above, chest pulsing in sync with the artifact. Rylan felt an unspoken promise in the rhythm. They were connected now, two beings united by courage, empathy, and shared struggle. The bond was new, fragile, and yet stronger than anything he had ever known. Humanity, he realized, had made the impossible possible. As Rylan looked toward the distant ridges of frozen formations, a faint glow flickered far in the horizon. Pulses of energy moved rhythmically, echoing the same patterns they had just witnessed. The artifact's light shifted toward them, almost as if guiding him. His pulse quickened. Another adventure, another danger, Another chance to test human courage and ingenuity awaited. He rose, brushing ice from his suit, eyes narrowing in determination. "This is only the beginning," he said softly. The dragon hissed in agreement, wings flexing, ready to follow him into whatever lay ahead. The cavern behind them began to collapse slowly, a reminder that the frozen silence could not contain them forever. They had survived, but the world beyond held even greater challenges. Rylan took one last look at the freed dragon, then at the glowing horizon. A surge of anticipation rushed through him. The human heart, he realized, could shine brightest in the darkest places. And somewhere out there, more mysteries waited, more frozen giants, more shadows, more truths that only courage and determination could uncover. He stepped forward, artifact in hand, dragon following closely above. The frozen canyon stretched before him, beautiful and deadly, and Rylan felt the thrill of the unknown, ready to meet whatever came next. The story of survival, trust, and courage was only just beginning, and the next chapter promised something far larger, far more dangerous, and far more extraordinary. The frozen silence was gone. And in its place, hope pulsed like a living thing.